Get ready for the action because we are diving straight into the drama. Tracy McGrady just walked back his comments regarding Jaylen Brown's frustration after the Celtics playoff exit, and you need to hear what he said. We break down the surprising retraction and what it means for the team moving forward.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This Jaylen 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we are looking at the massive implications surrounding the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. We explore why trading the former MVP is currently considered out of the question, digging into the physical toll of his playoff run and the factors making him an untouchable cornerstone for the franchise. Now we switch gears completely and look at the sheer scoring frenzy in the NBA playoffs. We examine the highest scoring games in playoff history, looking at the 304-point epic and the incredible offensive output from teams like the Spurs and the Celtics. And finally, we close with a sobering look at the Celtics season and the tough lessons learned from the Pacers. We discuss why tanking isn't always the answer and what this setback really tells us about the risks involved in the NBA landscape. Stay with us for the full breakdown. Tracy McGrady has retracted comments regarding Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown that had generated significant discussion following the team's first-round playoff exit against the Philadelphia 76ers. The controversy stemmed from McGrady's remarks on the Cousins podcast, where he suggested that Brown's frustration was rooted deeply within the Celtics organization due to ongoing issues. This statement prompted comments from Celtics coach Brad Stevens and required Brown to publicly address and clarify rumors surrounding the situation. Approximately a week later, McGrady issued a clarification, stating that he had never spoken to the Celtics star since the end of the previous season. Ben Rohrbach of Channel YouTube noted on X that McGrady clarified on NBC that his comments were made in an analytical capacity and were not based on any personal conversations with Brown since the season concluded. The retraction has shifted public perception, as many had previously assumed McGrady had exclusive knowledge or direct contact with Brown when he made the initial remarks. McGrady acknowledged that people were likely to magnify his words, but he expressed satisfaction in clearing up the misunderstanding. Despite the recent playoff loss, reports suggest the Celtics have no immediate plans to move on from Brown, with anticipation building for the team's performance next season alongside Jason Tatum. The prospect of trading Joel Embiid this offseason is currently deemed highly unlikely for the Philadelphia 76ers, according to recent analysis. The reasoning centers on Embiid's significant injury history, his substantial contract, and his status as the franchise cornerstone. Reports indicate that the superstar's playoff run in 2026 was significantly hampered by a hurried return to play following an appendectomy, which led to compensatory injuries, including issues with his hip and adductors. Derek Bodner reported that Embiid felt his core remained weak post-surgery, making the transition to playoff intensity a strenuous physical battle. Despite the team's early playoff exit and Embiid's ongoing health concerns, the New York Times has suggested that trading the former MVP is improbable. Key factors contributing to his untouchable status include his extensive injury record combined with his large contract, making it difficult for the 76ers to acquire a trade package that accurately reflects his on-court value. While observers noted a decline in his defensive mobility this season, Embiid remains one of the league's most dominant offensive forces. The front office is reportedly valuing Embiid far more as the franchise's centerpiece than any combination of assets or draft picks they might receive in a volatile trade market. The season concluded poorly with a 144-114 loss to the Knicks, during which Embiid visibly exhausted himself. In his post-game press conference, Embiid injected uncertainty into the future of the team, expressing enthusiasm for a healthy 2027 season, but admitting to ESPN that he was uncertain about upcoming roster changes, stating, "I don't even know if I'm gonna be here." This comment leaves the 76ers facing a summer dominated by questions regarding their direction. The NBA playoffs are heating up, characterized by increased offensive output as teams average 110 or more points per game. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the New York Knicks are leading this scoring surge, with the Thunder averaging 122.1 points and the Knicks at 117.8. The San Antonio Spurs follow closely behind with an average of 114 points. Recent playoff action highlights this trend. The New York Knicks delivered explosive performances, dropping 140 in Game 6 of their first-round series against the Hawks and 144 in their second-round sweep of the 76ers. Similarly, the Spurs showed firepower, scoring 133 against the Timberwolves in Game 2 of their second-round matchup, while Oklahoma City has registered 131 points on 2 separate occasions. Looking at the history of high-scoring playoff games reveals some truly historic moments. The highest-scoring playoff game in NBA history occurred on May 11, 1992, when the Portland Trail Blazers defeated the Phoenix Suns 153-151 in Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals. This contest set a record for the most points scored in a playoff game, totaling 304 points, which is 27 more than any previous playoff game. Clyde Drexler led the Blazers with 33 points, while Kevin Johnson scored 35 for Phoenix. The second highest scoring game featured the Trail Blazers and the Denver Nuggets on June 1, 2021, with Denver winning 147-140 in Game 5 of the first-round series. Nikola Jokic was instrumental, tallying 38 points and 11 rebounds. This game also showcased high-level scoring from Monte Morris and Michael Porter Jr. The third highest scoring contest was the highest scoring regulation game in postseason history, taking place on April 26, 1983, in the Western Conference semifinals. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Denver Nuggets 152-133 for a combined total of 285 points. The Spurs dominated the scoring, with George Gervin leading the charge with 42 points, while the two teams combined to record only 2 three-pointers in the entire game. Beyond combined scores, individual team performances have also reached extraordinary levels. The Boston Celtics delivered a massive performance on April 28, 1990, beating the New York Knicks 157-128. The Celtics scored 83 points in the second half, featuring 8 players in double figures and a remarkable 67% field goal percentage, despite Larry Bird finishing with 15 points. In other high-scoring contests, the Milwaukee Bucks scored 156 points against the Philadelphia 76ers in 1970, led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 33 points. Furthermore, the Los Angeles Clippers achieved a high total of 154 points against the Dallas Mavericks in the 2020 playoffs, driven by Paul George's 35 points and Kawhi Leonard's 32 points. Overall, the current playoff landscape is defined by increased pace and efficiency, with several teams pushing the boundaries of scoring potential, mirroring some of the most dramatic and high-scoring contests in NBA history. The recent misfortune experienced by the Boston Celtics serves as a stark reminder of the risks associated with tanking, contrasting with the path the team avoided during a previous gap year. The narrative that the Celtics might have tanked the 2025-26 season to improve their draft position was resurrected by the Philadelphia 76ers' first-round elimination. This situation is underscored by the Indiana Pacers' outcome in today's NBA draft lottery, which presented a worst-case scenario. The Pacers tanked their way into the second-best odds for the number 1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft, but ultimately traded a top 4 protected pick for Ivica Zubac, resulting in a selection at number 5 or lower. This outcome highlights the inherent danger of tanking, illustrating that even when teams execute a strategy, unpredictable lottery results can prove devastating. Analysts suggest that had the Celtics chosen to tank and avoided similar trade maneuvers, they might have avoided a similar fate. However, the situation underscores the cruel randomness of lottery outcomes, suggesting that even optimal strategic decisions are not foolproof. The Celtics have a history of pursuing game-changing assets in 1997, 2007, and 2014, without success, emphasizing that efforts do not always yield the desired results. Furthermore, committing to a tanking strategy would have required benching key players, including Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard. These players are focused on winning immediately, and a gamble on a delayed payoff, especially if it fails, would have created significant locker room tension. While the Pacers' outcome was disappointing, they remain in good shape, yet the blow they sustained highlights the shared vulnerability of teams in similar predicaments. The Celtics' recent humiliation, stemming from a missed opportunity for a high lottery pick, demonstrates that even playing the lottery game does not guarantee success and could have caused internal strain. While tanking is not inherently an unsound strategy, it remains extremely risky. Today's events should serve as a sobering lesson for the Celtics organization and its fanbase. The potential fallout from such a gamble could be significantly more severe than initially anticipated.